everyone, you're watching a physio named Jonah, now that's this guy, where today's video is in response to a particular question that I received about posture. Thank you, Michael, for the question, and it's about time I made a video on this anyway, given how much posture comes up at work as a physio. So stick around, let's learn what makes a posture good, what makes a posture bad, and why the heck you should give a heck. First things first, let's define posture. Posture refers to the general setup of your body during a task. It's most often thought of during sitting at our desk at work or when we're standing and trying to impress the ladies.
Ordering some cat food on Amazon.
However, posture refers to any position that your body is holding for a period of time. Posture gets a lot of attention in the media as well as with different products, and to an extent this is deserved. The way we stand, sit, or hold our body as we accomplish different tasks is going to say a lot about how we feel during and after that task. One question that commonly comes up is what makes a posture good and what makes one posture bad?
My precious.
Realistically, what makes a posture good versus bad is how it makes your body feel. A good posture will leave your body feeling good, and a bad posture will leave your body feeling bad. I love oversimplifying things. Something really important during that oversimplification, however, is that what makes a posture good versus bad is how it affects you. It's less about trying to achieve one perfect position like a robot and stay there, and more about listening to the signals that your body is sending and learning how to respond to them. For today, let's focus in on sitting posture. Now, there does seem to be a population out there that thinks the further you pull your shoulder blades back, the better your posture is.
Ultimate posture.
Yes, I'm being overdramatic and exaggerating it. It's what I tend to do. But there is some truth in this. A lot of times when I tell patients to sit with good posture, they think that this means pull their shoulder blades back really hard and sit up as straight as they possibly can. As a quick physio tip here, a cue that I've been taught and tend to use fairly often is you want to think about putting your shoulders and your shoulder blades back onto a shelf behind you. This way you have to incorporate a little bit of up for that first movement because you're putting it on the shelf behind you, and then encourages a slight bit of down without pulling too hard because you wouldn't want to pull down on the shelf, that's going to hurt. So this encourages a gentle up and back posture that can remind you about where to position your shoulder blades during a day of sitting. But there I go, getting way ahead of myself here, talking about shoulders. We need to start from the ground up when we talk about posture. It's important to think how we contact the floor and chair because this is going to influence those pieces further up the chain like your chest, shoulders, and neck. So let's start with the feet. This one is pretty straightforward. Your feet should be in contact with the ground when you're sitting. However, if you're not setting any records for height out there, a simple solution to this can be putting a stool under your feet if your chair can't go low enough. Moving on up to the hips, when we think about a good posture, we want to get good contact between our sit bones and the chair that we're sitting on. Now, if you place your hands underneath your bum, you should feel two bony prominences poke into your hands. Move your hips back and forth and you should feel that those bones become more or less prominent as you move. A good rule of thumb for where your hips should be positioned is where these bones are at their most prominent. This means that you're going to have a little bit of an arch into your low back, but it's not going to be over-exaggerated one way or the other. Moving back on up to the shoulders, which, spoilers from earlier, you can use these shoulder blades up onto the shelf cue. What's really important with this is that you want to think about this motion just coming from the shoulder blades. It's quite common for us to over-exaggerate this motion with the shoulder blades and end up with an overarch in our lower back. So really try and break it apart so you're moving just the shoulder blades and keeping your low back in the position we already talked about with the sit bones. With how much time our society spends working on our phones, tablets, laptops, as well as our Game Boys, check out that Game Boy disease video, we can all be at risk of moving our faces closer and closer to the screen that we're working on until we become one with it. A good rule of thumb then is to keep your ears stacked on top of your shoulders if someone was to look at you from the side. Along these lines, if you have a desktop monitor at work, having the desktop monitor at eye level and the keyboard down at your elbow level when you're sitting is a good way to try and ergonomically set up that desk. Now we're sitting in that good straight posture at a good work setup. That's awesome. But is it awesome enough? There are those out there who believe that the next posture is your best posture, essentially saying that constant motion is the ailment for those postural woes. Honestly, I find a fair bit of value in this mentality. No posture is going to be completely bulletproof for 8 hours a day at work with no breaks in between. Also, there are negative aspects to completely prolonged sitting, and check out the Sitting is the New Smoking video for more on that. Getting up, changing positions, moving around, even if it's just taking a quick little walk or stand, are all great ways of preventing aches and pains from building up. Something important to remember here is that postures naturally decay, so don't expect the same posture you sit down with to be the posture that you're sitting in about an hour or two. Now, you could fight this really hard and think about your position and try and be really on top of it, or you can accept this and take breaks to move around, stand up, do whatever you have to do so that when you sit back down, you end up starting from that good posture starting position all over again. Despite all these ideas about moving around more often throughout the day, if you find that your current sitting posture is creating pain for you during bouts of prolonged sitting or even with these taking breaks, it may be that you're not sitting in an excellent posture. So that's where those tips that we talked about earlier in the video can come in handy to try and get yourself in a better position when you are seated, with breaks included, to reduce this overall stress on your tissues and try and make things as easy as possible on your body, especially during those bouts of absolutely unavoidable, super important prolonged sitting.
Nice.
Hopefully now here at the end of the video you learned some practical tips that you can start to apply when you think about how to change your posture at work, home, or during whatever important activities you have going on. Once again, the idea for this video came from a comment that I received, so if you have anything you'd like to see a physiotherapist make a video on, go ahead and leave a comment down below or reach out to me anywhere on the internet, that's totally fine. Subscribe so you don't miss any of the upcoming content, and other than that guys, move your body, have a laugh today, and I will see you at the next video. Probably with this cat.